Hi, this video is intended to show you how to use the Adobe Reader Comment Tools in order to mark up your interior or cover design draft PDFs with the changes you want your designer to make. The first step is to log into Octavo and access the interior or the cover design revision task page. On this page, you will be able to download your draft and then either approve the draft or make revisions. And this video is going to show you, again, how to make those revisions and how to upload them. So in order to use the Adobe Reader Comment Tools, you will need to use Adobe Reader. So if you do not have that program on your computer, the first step is going to be to download the program. You'll see here on the task page there's a link right here to download Adobe Reader. Click the link. It comes up with this page, and I just showed this in this video because I want you to know that you do not need the Acrobat Pro trial. If you do download Adobe Reader, the free version is all you need. Okay, so once you have Adobe Reader installed into your computer, we can move on to the next step, which is downloading your draft. So here we see right here, here's the link to view the complete file. It shows us a little preview of the first page of the document, which is a little more handy for the cover design task, especially for the interior. We definitely need to download this whole file. So we will click the link right here, and that is going to download the PDF draft. And it's going to show up in our downloads folder as soon as the file has finished downloading. Now's the time to go ahead and open up Adobe Reader. So I'm opening up that program, and then from the File menu at the top we can select Open and open our file that we just downloaded from the Downloads folder. Note that this video is shown on a Macintosh operating system. If you're using Windows PC, your File Explorer interface is going to look a little bit different, but it's the same principle. Open up your Downloads folder, find the file you just downloaded, and click Open. And we'll see that the interior draft here opens right up. And the next thing we need to do is we need to open up this comment toolbar. So this is the important part of the video here that you may have been waiting for. So on the side we can see here's the comment button, and indeed if we just click this right here, it's going to open up the comment toolbar up at the top. The alternative way to do so is to click the View menu and go to Tools and Comment, and you can see there's a little check mark there because it's already activated. You might also notice that when you first open up your draft, the toolbar may be a little smaller on the side. Same thing, just go over Comment and click that. Okay, one other consideration now that we've opened our interior draft is to make sure we're looking at this in the same way that's going to be reflected in the book, because often it's going to be important to the author to know the order of the pages. So it's important to note that this first page is always on the right hand side of the book, and then it's handy to be able to view the rest of the book left and right, so you can kind of see how these first pages show up. In order to, we can again go to the View button and go to Page Display, and indeed we want to have two-page view. And then we want to have Show Cover Page in two-page view selected as well. Those two settings right there are going to ensure we're viewing the PDF correctly. There's a link in the comments of this video that will show you how to do that. Okay, let's get into the meat of the video, so to speak. Let's talk about these comment tools up at the top. It's really important when marking up your draft that we're using the correct tools in a way that's going to make your revisions very clear and obvious to your designer. So these three tools are the most common right here: Insert Text, the Replace Text, and Delete Text. The other important one is the Sticky Note tool, which is good for general design instructions. And lastly, the highlighting tool can be useful for indicating formatting changes. Let's cover the basics of how to use each of these tools. I'm going to scroll to the first page of text here, And let's say at the end of this first paragraph, I'd like to insert a little bit of extra text there. I want to add an extra word. There's two ways I can do this. I can either first select the tool while ensuring that no text, my cursor isn't actually in the text anywhere. So you'll see we don't see the cursor flashing. So I can start by clicking the tool right here, and then we'll see that it highlights the tool blue as it's active, and my cursor has the little insert text icon on it. I can then go to precisely the place I want to insert the words between the word found and the period. I select right there, and then I can insert the words that I want, and then click Post. If I click anywhere else in the document, we can see that it just leaves a little insert. If I hover over it, it tells me what comment I left. And if I want to edit that comment, I can click on it, and I can either go to the selected comment in the toolbar and double click, or I can double click right on the revision right here, which accomplishes the same thing. And I could add more evers if I wanted to, but I wouldn't do that. So again, I can edit what I've already written right here and then click Post when I'm finished. If I decide that I've changed my mind, that sounds a little clunky, I just select the tool and hit Delete, and there we see it disappears. I can also, if I want to undo, you can either go up to the Edit and click Undo, or you can go Control or Command Z, and that undoes the change that I just made, so that I can show you that I can also click the little three buttons right here and go Delete, or I can simply right click on this tool here and click Delete. So there's a variety of ways to remove the tools that have been inserted. So that's the insert text. Let's say I wanted to just say he was executed in Spain here. I can highlight the word Granada, and if I want to remove that, I can just select the Delete Text tool right here, or also known as the Strike Through Text tool. So I click that, and it applies the tool to the highlighted text. And there's no comment or anything needed on a delete text. It simply tells the designer to remove whatever text has that tool applied to it. Again, if I'm not happy, if I decide, no, actually I liked it the way it was, I can go ahead and delete the tool there. Okay, so that's insert text and strike through text. The other one that's very, very useful is to use the replace text tool. And so let's scroll, say I'm scrolling carefully through my book, going through everything a lot slower. And let's say I want to replace tall pink and ochre with short blue and green. I would simply highlight the text, click the replace text tool, and then add the text to replace the current text. Let's talk about the two tools that we'll use for indicating formatting changes rather than text changes. And that's the highlighting tool and the sticky note tool. The sticky note tool is not to be used for specific text changes because it doesn't get associated with a specific block of text, unlike the replace text, insert text, and delete text tools. So the sticky note tool is just to be used to indicate formatting changes. We can see that when we select the tool, our cursor changes to a sticky note and it will get stuck wherever we click. So let's say I'd like the designer to make a little change to this. I'd like this to be made a little more sleek and modern looking. And let's say change everywhere in book, because that's a note to, if you want to make a change to, say, every chapter heading throughout the book, you do not need to request that revision on every single chapter. You can just make the revision on one chapter at the beginning and then indicate to the designer that that's meant to be made everywhere. Click Post. If you'd like to make a formatting request to specific text, say you'd like to change the font type of the chapter headings, that is a great example of when to use the highlighting tool. So again, Because this is specific text, I can either highlight the text first and then click the tool, or if my cursor is not already placed anywhere, I can click the highlighting first, changes my cursor to the highlighter, and then I select the change I want to make. Say I want this to sort of go along with the new border. Perhaps I would like them to change font to a hand-drawn style modern font. And I, again, for all chapter headers, and click Post. And that's going to indicate to the designer that they need to change the chapter heading fonts throughout the book. Now that you know how to use the most important comment tools, you're well equipped when proofreading your interior and cover drafts to be able to indicate to your designer exactly the changes that need to be made if and when you find any errors that need to be fixed. As you move through that process, you're going to need to save your file regularly. And the first time you do so, I'd recommend you use the Save As function under the File menu to save your file as a little bit of a different name that just makes it very clear to you which one is the revision file. So you could go revision round 1, for example, and that just makes it very clear which version you're working on. And hit save. And as you make further changes, you can just click this little floppy disk icon right here, or go back up to the File menu and hit save as often as you need to. Once you're totally finished, then it's time to upload the draft to Octavo. So save the file for a final time, and then go back to your Octavo task page. Then, once you're back on the task page, click I want to make revisions. This brings up the revision instruction page. And then you, under the interior draft revision files, we're going to click here and upload the file we were just working with. Click the button inside the rectangle, and I believe I saved mine in my downloads folder. Here it is, revision round 1, and I click open. It's going to upload the file, and it's going to continue uploading. And then when it finishes uploading, we can go ahead over here and click Complete Task. Oh, there we go. See, it wasn't finished uploading and it gave me the error. Now the upload is complete, so I can now click Complete Task and hit Submit to submit the revision to my designer. So here we go. Let's hit Submit. And voila, you're finished. And it brings us back to the task completed page. If there's any other tasks assigned to us, we'll be able to access it down here. And here we can see we submitted the interior design, so there's currently an interior layout draft task in progress with the design team. All right, let's talk about a couple of top tips. Number 1, take your time and be precise. If you submit errors to the designer is going to implement those errors. So if you misspell any words, your next draft is going to come back to you with just as many errors potentially as there was before. So make sure you're very precise and careful in submitting your revisions. Number 2, submitted revisions go straight to your designer. So that means once you complete the task in Octavo, the revision file goes to the designer, and within a week they're going to send you back the next draft. So that means you need to wait until you're totally finished revising that draft from front to back before you submit those revisions to the designer. Number 3, for each revision, just use one tool and make sure you use the recommended most important tools that we went over in this video. So for a single text change, you should be able to choose between the strike through, replace text, and insert text change. And for a formatting change, most of the time you're going to be using the sticky note tool, or alternatively perhaps the highlighting tool. So make sure you use the right tool and just one of them for each revision. Number 4, changes that need to be applied to the entire draft PDF, they can be marked up just once, and we talked about this in the video. So if, for example, you want the font of all your title headers to be changed throughout the book, You just need to make that revision request on Chapter 1 with a note that it needs to be made everywhere. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and to learn how to use the Adobe Comment Tools. It's really going to pay dividends later on down the line when your final book is error-free because you took the time to carefully review each draft.